Has a Whipline subscriber outed a long-standing injustice that is keeping thousands of people in prison for no good reason? Judge for yourself. Our subscriber wrote to me saying, could you do a piece on unfairness of these sentences? A recent local case where a stolen car killed a pedestrian got only 11 years, released within 6 years. Yet if you nicked a mobile phone and got an indeterminate sentence, 20 years or so isn't fair. It is also clogging up needed cells at needless expense. Well, I did a bit of digging, and this seems to be about the scandal of IPP sentences, that's imprisonment for public protection, in the UK. It has been a long-running controversy in criminal justice. These prison sentences were introduced by Tony Blair's new Labour government under the Criminal Justice Act 2003 and started being used in 2005. An IPP worked like this. The judge set a minimum term or tariff, the punishment part. But after that term ended, the prisoner was not automatically released. They may only be released if the parole board decides they are no longer dangerous. If the parole board refuses, they stay in prison indefinitely. In theory, the tariff might be 2 years or so, but the total time served could be 10, 15, or 20 years. IPP sentences were meant for dangerous offenders who did not quite meet the threshold for a life sentence. But in practice, thousands of people received them for offences that were serious but not extreme, including robberies, assaults, or sometimes theft linked with previous convictions. This created the exact contrast my subscriber mentioned. People convicted of relatively low-level offences sometimes served far longer than people convicted of more serious crimes with fixed sentences. In some cases, prisoners with tariffs of 2 or 3 years served actual sentences of 10 to 15 years or more. Prisoners often needed rehabilitation courses to demonstrate reduced risk, but prisons did not have enough places on those courses. The European Court of Human Rights ruled in 2012 that the way IPPs were operated was arbitrary and unlawful, partly because prisoners lacked access to the programs needed to qualify for release. Campaigners say the uncertainty, not knowing when they will ever be released, has caused severe mental health harm to prisoners. One well-known example is a prisoner who was jailed for stealing a mobile phone, who served more than a decade and developed psychosis. IPP sentences were abolished in 2012, but the abolition was not retrospective, meaning people already serving IPPs remain under them. So the legacy continues. Estimates suggest around 2,000 to 3,000 people are still affected by IPP sentences today. Many have served many years beyond their tariff. The typical criticisms are exactly what my subscriber described. Disproportionate punishment. Someone convicted of a lesser crime can spend longer in prison than someone convicted of a more serious offence with a fixed sentence. A Kafka-style release test. Prisoners must prove they are not dangerous, which critics say is extremely difficult. And prison overcrowding. Thousands of prisoners remain detained long after their tariff, occupying scarce prison places. And cost. Keeping someone in prison costs tens of thousands of pounds per year. Successive governments have resisted releasing IPP prisoners, arguing that they were judged dangerous at sentencing. The parole board must protect the public, and some prisoners have extensive offending histories. So, instead of re-sentencing them, the government has focused on gradual release through parole. Campaigners call it one of the biggest miscarriages in modern UK sentencing. And in a time when prison places are at a premium, the government still will not relent. What would you like to see done about it?